Hi pals, John here with the Lens Power, and today we're going to show you how to balance a Canon C200 with a cinema lens on a Ronin RS2. A little while back on our social medias, we posted a picture of this camera balanced on this gimbal. And it's been one of the, I don't want to say popular, but it's definitely got a lot of comments, people asking how we did it. First thing you want to do is set up your camera. I'm just going to move this to the side. So we've got the Canon CNE 24mm cinema lens on here. We already have the battery in place because that's obviously going to impact our weight. And then the next thing we want to do is go ahead and remove this handle because it's just going to add extra weight and get in the way. Now this handle, for those of you who aren't aware, also plugs in on the bottom and it should just pop out like that. So we're going to take the handle and this little cable guide and pop it there. So here we go. Lens, battery, camera, ready to go. I think we can get away with the low riser on this one. So I am just going to flip this over like so. And I'm going to take this riser here and make sure that there is an arrow on the bottom of these risers to show you which way is front. So I'm going to make sure that that is pointing towards the lens, and I'm going to screw it in. And because this is a heavy piece of equipment and an expensive piece of equipment, I'm actually going to break out a trusty screwdriver and just give it an extra bit of oomph like that. And now we have our camera on the plate. The fact this isn't tipping backwards or forwards is a good sign to me. Next up, we're going to mount it on this. One of the nice things about the RS2 is that the quick release plate has a quick release plate on it. So you can balance this, leave this in place on the gimbal and still be able to remove the camera and not impact your balancing at all. So it will, obviously it's not going to remain balanced because there's no weight on there, but you won't have to readjust the balancing once you take the camera off or put the camera back on. So we're just going to go ahead and slide this in here from the correct side. That always helps. And then we're going to lock that in place. It uses a nice little locking lever. I'm just going to make sure that that's in there nice and securely. So before we actually pop the camera on here, what we're going to do is we're going to unlock the axes like so, and we're going to get it into this position. Don't have to worry about unlocking that axis there. We're just going to lock it off, that way it can't move. We're going to lock it there, that way it's going to stay nice and in place whilst we mount the camera. All right, so mounting the camera. Don't forget this is going to slide on from the front towards the back, like so. There you go, balanced, see? Just like that. Obviously I'm kidding, here we go. We're going to unlock this axis here, and yeah, we are touching up against that back there. So we're just going to move it a little bit more, right about there. I think what we need to actually do is balance it upside down. Normally, typically I would point the lens upwards to balance this, but it's going to be easier to balance it with the lens down. Now I'm trying to do this without being able to see everything, so I'm just going to turn it around. There we go. And just unlock. Just unlocking this right here. So unlock it a little bit more so it actually slides. Ooh, a little bit more down. That's too much. And it's just baby steps. Same with any gimbal. Any camera combination. Baby steps. All this stuff. Too fast. Come on. I'm not going to say that's perfect, but for now that's going to do. So I'm just going to lock this back off. Also put it the correct way. I'm going to lock this back off. There we go. And we're going to bring it around there. Alright. Cool, that's one done. Now we're going to bounce front to back. This is going to be a tricky one, just because, as I've already pointed out, we have very little clearance back here, but we need to push some of that weight forward anyway, so I think it is going to... Ooh, that's too much weight. Just fine. One of the things I really like, one of the improvements on this RS2 is that there is a little wheel, a little thing right here that allows you to make really fine adjustments to the forward and back balancing of this gimbal. Basically, this long release plate has teeth on the underside of it, and turning that gear, or that handle, engages the teeth and moves it front and back, a lot like a macro focusing rail. I'd say that's pretty good. So there we go. Alright, that is locked in place. I'm happy with where that is. So next up is to balance this axis. I'm going to unlock it, but as I unlock it, I am just going to support the camera because we don't want anything nasty happening. There you go. So we need to move some of that weight this way. We need to move some more of it this way. So, last one to do is this one. So we're just going to unlock this from here. Now this seems to be the one that a lot of people, I don't know if they just don't worry about it, or they don't know how to do it, but if you see now that this is unlocked, it's just spinning by itself. I'm not putting any motion into that, it's just how it goes. So what I'm going to do is just slide this. Still got a little bit of movement there. Back. And yes, from my perspective, the handle is backwards, but for the purpose of balancing this, it doesn't hugely matter. I'd say that's pretty good. Alright, let's lock that off to power this on. There we go, up we go. And then in the app, I'm going to hit connect to gimbal. Find the one there. In fact, you don't even need to do this with the RS2 because it will offer you a calibration on the screen on the back of the gimbal. So just hit calibrate from there, or at 40%. It's running through each of the different axes. It's probably going to tell me that I did an awful job, but it's going to fix that for me. And obviously, the closer you get when it comes time to balancing, the less calibrating that needs to be done by the gimbal itself. So there we go. Okay, so now we have the C200 set up on the RS2, and that's absolutely perfect as long as you're happy wandering around with your eye up against the viewfinder. Now, don't know about you, but that seems kind of uncomfortable, awkward even, especially if you have to suddenly stop and you smack yourself in the eye. Thankfully, Ronin has created this little device. This is the RavenEye. It's a wireless video transmission system. And what it will do is take an HDMI output from whatever camera you have up here, including the C200, and transmit it to the Ronin app if you're running that on your phone or on a tablet of some description. So we're just going to go ahead and set that up now. Now, what I've got here are two cables. This is a USB-C to USB-C cable. It is plugged in on this side of the RavenEye. It's the side that only has the one port. There's a little icon down on this side that is like, I guess it's like a transfer type thing with a lightning bolt next to it. On this side, we have the appropriate HDMI cable. There is another port. Here it is the RSS port. This is for controlling the camera, which I don't believe is functionality that is shared with the C200, so we're not going to worry about that. This slides underneath here. There's a little slot, and it's going to go in here and then slide to the right, and that's it. It's in. It's not coming down, and then to remove it, you just slide it back in the opposite direction. Super simple. I'm going to plug the HDMI cable, obviously, into the HDMI port of the camera. Now I have locked off the gimbal so that as I'm pressing things against it, moving things around, that it's not fighting me. That has put the motors to sleep for the time being because it is locked. So that's the HDMI cable in place. Then this cable is going to come up here and over to here. On the gimbal are 3 different ports for various bits and pieces. We're just matching this one with a little Wi-Fi icon up to this here. There is a power switch on the front. Hopefully I can get that down out of the way with the network details on here. Once you have everything connected and this is powered on through the nice little on switch here on the front of the RavenEye unit, you want to connect to its Wi-Fi. Now you can do that from within the app, but I have found it's easier if you actually go into your phone's Wi-Fi settings and connect that way using the SSID password that are on the front. You also want to make sure that your Bluetooth is turned off, otherwise there's issues between connecting to the gimbal and connecting to the RavenEye, basically DJI. It says make sure you have your Bluetooth turned off. But once you've got that done, you can go ahead and open up the RavenEye just by clicking the RavenEye view in there. So in my best Steve Jobs impression, there's just one more thing. Okay, so you have the app on your phone, everything's working smoothly, but you might not have the willpower to run around like this, or maybe you have a hat that holds this tooth out from your face. Maybe you don't. And if you don't, DJI have thought of that. Included is this wonderful little phone holder. It's actually a couple of different pieces, all combined to make a phone holder that fits onto the NATO rail here, so just make sure that this is nice and loose. Obviously, the more you loosen it, the more you have to tighten it later. But we're just going to make sure that that's good and tight there. This will allow you to adjust the angle. So I'm just going to put it about there. And this section will fit my phone just like that. So now I have my phone right there in front of me. I can adjust it as I need to make sure that I am getting the shots that I want. Okay. And that's it. That is a Canon C200 with a cinema lens balanced on an RS2 with no counterweights, no trickery, no black magic, just a little bit of patience, using the RavenEye to take the HDMI feed out of the camera and pop it onto my phone so I can still monitor them whilst I use this setup. C200, the cinema lens, spare batteries, CF cards, SD cards, all of that good stuff, plus the RS2 are available on our website, thelenspanel.com. My phone is not available on the website, so you'll have to supply your own one of those. And if you have enjoyed this video, if you found it informative, hopefully a lot of you have, because you've asked me this, please give us a like or a thumbs up. Maybe even give us a subscribe or
different feathers.